wrong ones part ways, right ones find their way. Title of the article I'm going to share with you today is Why Women Don't Want to Have Children Anymore. Giving birth is supposed to be a unique right for women. How many women willingly risk their lives to bring a new life into the world just to be able to call themselves mothers? On a social media, there was once a question about women's willingness to give birth. The most upvoted answer was having a good husband. In fact, it has nothing to do with anything else. Just the moment of giving birth, the behavior of those husbands at the delivery room door is enough to break many women's hearts. Some time ago, we interviewed 100 mothers who had experienced the ordeal of childbirth. Their answers were truly heart-wrenching. Harry, 35 years old, a professional manager. If you were to ask me what the biggest pain I've experienced in my life is, I would tell you it's giving birth. Both my husband and I are considered senior white-collar workers, used to the life of just the two of us. Suddenly, one day, my husband had a whimsical idea of wanting a child. Out of deep love for him, I immediately agreed. But the result was that I found I had made the stupidest decision of my life. We went to a private hospital where my husband could continue to accompany me during childbirth. From the onset of labor until the birth, I suffered 2 nights of continuous uterine contractions, experiencing dizziness, exhaustion, and vomiting. It felt like demons were crushing my body back and forth. Every moment of pain made me wish for death. Even now, the memory still gives us both lingering fear. I couldn't help but scream in pain, and at first my husband would comfort me. But as time went on, he became impatient. He started checking his phone frequently and even asked, "Is it really that painful? It was because of this sentence that I filed for divorce when the child was just a month old." Perhaps many men think that giving birth is a woman's instinct and that they are being overly sensitive. Although it is painful, it shouldn't be too painful, but let them try it themselves. Xiao Min, 30-year-old obstetrician. As an obstetrician myself, having witnessed so many near-death experiences during childbirth and being naturally averse to pain, I decided to have an epidural from the moment I got pregnant. However, just before my due date, my mother-in-law found out that I wanted an epidural and specifically rushed over from her hometown. She kept insisting that I shouldn't have too much anesthesia because it would make the child stupid. I told my mother-in-law that I was very afraid of labor pains and would have difficulty enduring them. But she said, "I've given birth to several children. Just endure it, it's not a big deal." When I was 3 centimeters dilated, I was already sweating profusely from the pain, and my consciousness was becoming somewhat blurred. But to my disappointment, every time the doctor went over to ask my husband, he kept saying, "My mom says anesthesia isn't good for the child." In the end, it was my own mother who, despite my mother-in-law's opposition, immediately called the doctor to perform the epidural. That's how I safely gave birth to my child. Mao Mao Chong, 34-year-old full-time mom. Whenever someone asks me why I insist on having 3 children, I proudly say it's because I have a good husband. I remember when I was giving birth to my first child, I almost had a difficult delivery. My husband excitedly yelled at the doctor to save me. At that moment, I thought he was incredibly cool. Approaching the delivery room, he repeatedly instructed the doctor several times that if conditions for a natural birth weren't favorable and if his wife couldn't bear the pain, to perform a cesarean section. The woman knew that a natural birth was better for the baby and insisted on it. In the end, he tried hard inside, while the husband outside was restless. Every now and then, he would grab a nurse and ask if my wife was okay. When the child was handed to him, he burst into tears. With such a big child, how painful must it have been for my wife? With such a husband, no matter how hard or tired life is, it's worth it for a woman. People always focus on the newly born life, but they overlook how difficult it is for mother and child to be safe. But even so, every mother suffering during pregnancy, upon hearing her child's loud cry, upon seeing that ugly little face, instantly dissipates like smoke. It's like sunlight suddenly shining into the water. The trembling body on the delivery bed, scared to the bone, also starts to feel a trace of warmth. This is the ordeal women go through during childbirth. They forget all the suffering they endured during the ordeal. In fact, women are never afraid of the pain of childbirth. What they fear most is risking their lives while you remain indifferent. I've got tortured, and you don't care. To all the husbands in the world, I want to say, if you can't bear it, at least share it. Every woman who risks her life to give birth to your child should be loved by you for a lifetime. I hope you gain new insights every day. You'll never be alone here.